We all know that food is fuel. We are what we eat. Food gives us energy, food builds us and allows us to grow, and also gives us the essential components for your body to regenerate. In other words, food is essential for your life and for your well-being. When there is too little, you get deficiency disorders. When there is too much, then that's when we develop all these non-communicable diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, heart disease. Even 80% of the cancers are caused by excessive and unhealthy eating. I don't know whether you knew that 80% of cancers are preventable by just looking at what I'm going to say. Food is your fuel and you are what you eat. So can you change your life and your longevity by watching what you eat and being prepared for it? Those are the things that I want to talk to you in this video. First of all, when it comes to food, we ask what does our body require for a normal function. When we define that and when we identify it, then it's easy to plan your life. For your long-term health, you can invest in your food in order to live healthy. So the food can be thought of as macronutrients, that is the key components of your food. And we say there is carbohydrates, which are the starches, like anything made of rice, wheat, any sugars that we eat are part of the carbohydrate family. Then we have this big family called vegetable, which can be leaves, tubers, parts of the vegetable that you eat, etc., that provide you with nutrients, vitamins, minerals, etc., that are needed as building blocks for your life and also for regeneration. Then you have the building block, which is the expensive part of the food, which are the proteins. Now you have proteins in plant products like the lentils, soy, etc. And then you have the animal proteins. Any part of animal is protein. So anything that is milk or eggs or even meat or seafood is the protein that you have. So these three, the carbohydrates, the vegetable and the protein, are the macronutrients, the gross part of the food. If you design your food plate accordingly, then you have succeeded in most of this, because we want you to have the correct amount of calorie, not too much, because modern food is packaged and you see advertisements and people are confused as to what is good for you. There is vast amounts of money spent in telling you and showcasing to you in the supermarkets, etc., what is good for you, and people get confused by that. So that's why carbohydrates become a problem, and we have started eating 2 to 3 times more than what we require, because carbohydrate has to be designed to be consumed in an amount that your body needs for fuel. Anything extra will get converted into fat and gets deposited, and that's how you get obese, that's how you get illnesses. So carbohydrates, ideally, if you are not a hard-working farmer or an athlete, if you are a usual modern human who just goes to office and comes back, should ideally be quarter of your plate. And the half of your plate should be exchanged for the carbohydrate. You need to take more vegetable, and that is the key component. Lots of researchers that have followed people for a long time show that those who eat more than 50% of their food as vegetable actually live longer, they have fewer illnesses and fewer cancers or malignancies. Protein, don't forget it, it has to be at least quarter of your plate, or we say 30% of your diet has to be protein. For that, we would like you to fill quarter of your plate with proteinaceous food, which can be any of the proteins that I described. So these three major components, carbohydrates to be limited, more vegetable than what you eat now, and perhaps proteins in the right component. For most people, that's an increase. This type of diet in long-term research is shown to be beneficial in multiple ways, and therefore why not look at this? You will also see that there are few key food elements that have been missed out, and they are essential too, like nuts are beneficial to you, not in high quantity. What I haven't spoken about is the controversial topic of whether fat is good or bad for you. Well, if you require a lot of calories, like if you are a sportsman or a farmer, heavy bodybuilder, then you need quite a lot of fat, and that can be consumed. If not, you need to change your fat consumption to healthier fats. Advertised food, like what you see packaged and sold in the supermarkets in general, has high fat content, high carbohydrate, high salt, and also sometimes may have carcinogenic things like trans fats. When you deep fry or deep cook or overheat a food item to store it safely, you get trans fat, and that can cause cancers, research says. So can you generally learn to read labels is my request, because packaged food in general is unhealthy, because something has been done to make it tastier and more presentable and to be able to be stored for a long time. Therefore it becomes unhealthy. So ladies and gentlemen, while I speak about food in general, I also need to give you some clues as to how to make your life healthy. How can you make it work? Make healthy choices, plan it, because you need to think about healthy components of your food, and they have to be available in plenty, because what worked earlier usually doesn't work for a long time. You need to plan, and that happens at marketing. Don't fall for advertisements. Learn to read labels. Learn to bring good food that is nutritious and healthy and not harmful to you, because lots of the processed foods you will find have harmful components. The second one I wanted to talk about is about mindful eating, because most of us don't just eat, we eat till we are full, and that leads to obesity and other illnesses. Can we think about mindfully choosing our food that will make our plate healthier, as well as allow us to eat only what is needed for us? So be mindful about the quantities you require. Have a long-term plan in mind and think about that. Have some clues. As your body, the stomach fills up, get those clues and stop eating earlier than what you normally do. Chew and taste the food. Enjoy the flavor of it, and use food as a celebration rather than as a hastily eaten something. And that allows you to enjoy the food and enjoy smaller quantity and still be happy with it. So the satisfaction, the satiation from the food is best when you have slowly digested it and slowly enjoyed it and used it as a celebration of food. So it's not just the quantity you eat, it's the flavor, it's the smell, it's the taste of it, it's the looks of it, because in most foods you have colors. If you enjoy all that plus the texture and the way in which it's created or cooked, you will find that food is more enjoyable, and you wouldn't just be eating for the sake of eating that. So in order to fuel your future, in other words, fuel a healthy future which is devoid of illnesses, even cancer, you need to redesign your plate. And my challenge to you is to think about half plate vegetable and quarter plate protein, and limit carbohydrates unless you are an athlete or a farmer or somebody who requires high amount of calories. If you plan and have healthy components of healthy sections of food in your diet, day to day, you will find that your medical bill goes down and your longevity goes up, and you can have a better quality of life as food becomes a lifestyle change in your life. So we spoke about food as a fuel, ladies and gentlemen. Let's learn to choose well, look at the macronutrients or the major components and do it properly, eat mindfully and plan beforehand. These 3 pointers will allow you to choose the food correctly and use the food which is the fuel that fuels your long-term health. Over to you.